The message began with a rush of air and a wet animal groan that didn't sound human at first. Then a man's voice broke through, ragged, pleading, words chewed by panic. He moaned, he gasped, and then one plain word cut through the noise. Stop! Static crowded the line. Something scraped close to the microphone, and the voicemail ended hard, as if a door shut on the call. The timestamp locked it to the early hours of Labor Day, 2015, in the northern suburbs of Minneapolis. The caller was a husband expected home. Hours earlier, the night of September 6th had looked ordinary. Long weekend, a club in the North Metro, music high enough to rattle ribs, a crowd shoulder to shoulder, last rounds that felt harmless in the moment. Henry McCabe, a 32-year-old auditor, went out with friends. There were small choices that would matter later. Who drove, who held his wallet so he wouldn't spend more, which exit they took, and where the night would end for him. He drank, he danced, he told people he was fine. Sometime after 2 a.m., the plan frayed. A friend later said he dropped Henry near a gas station in Fridley and told him to call for a ride. The exact spot would shift under questioning, but in the dark it sounded simple. A lit place, a phone, a short distance to his apartment in Mounds View. On a map, it was nothing. On foot, unsteady and tired, in a patchwork of roads and water, it was far enough. Phones tell their own story. After the supposed drop-off, Henry's phone pinged towers across the northern suburbs, brief handshakes that sketched wedges of possibility, quiet subdivisions, parking lots gone empty, marsh edges that hold heat and insects at night. Somewhere along that path, he pressed call and left the recording that everyone would come to know. Breath. Movement. A voice in distress. The single word that no one could ignore. Stop. Before sunrise, police were working it. His wife saved the voicemail and handed it over. Officers canvassed the gas station and nearby lots, pulled what video they could, and asked overnight clerks what they had seen. A man weaving, a man arguing, a man getting into a car. Some remembered something, others didn't. Details contradicted each other. Investigators logged the shifting drop point and kept going because the sound of the call demanded it. By morning, the Liberian community in Minnesota had the word out. Volunteers organized search lines. They printed flyers and taped them to bus shelters and light poles. They walked drainage ditches, storm basins, and trail edges. Here, water sits in almost every low place. Creeks through culverts, shallow lakes, with soft shorelines armored in weeds. Search leaders told people to move slowly at the cattails and to mark where they had been, so the same ground wouldn't be checked twice, while another pocket went untouched. The voicemail became its own gravity well. Listeners argued about the background. Was that splashing, footsteps, distant traffic? Some swore they heard another voice. Others said the inhuman sound was simply a man trying to speak while he was in pain and moving. Rumors added a gunshot. Audio specialists said they didn't hear one. What they heard was a human voice, distorted by stress, motion, and a cheap microphone. The certainty was the word stop. Detectives worked the inner circle. Who had been with him? Who drove? Who held his wallet? Who left him? And where? The wallet came back with the explanation that it had been taken to keep him from spending. Timelines wobbled under re-interviews. Routes first described didn't perfectly match cameras or maps. Suspicion stirred, but suspicion isn't proof, and nothing hard surfaced to show an assault. The phone's pings gave a search radius, and people kept walking it. September cooled. Reeds dried and rattled in the wind. Dogs came in. Officers who knew these lakes reminded volunteers how easy it is to step from firm ground into muck, how a slick edge turns one bad step into a slide, how fast a person can disappear without a splash that carries. Week after week, searchers returned because the recording would not let them quit. The call sounded like a man in danger. It did not explain from what. On November 2nd, 2015, Rush Lake in New Brighton gave up an answer. A body was found near shore, within the broad area investigators had been circling since the first week. Recovery teams worked the edge and made the notification. Identification followed. It was Henry. The medical examiner did the clinical work that ends rumor. Cause of death: drowning. No significant trauma that would indicate a beating or a gunshot. Toxicology showed alcohol. Time in water matched the missing window. Authorities returned to the voicemail because everyone else did. If the call had recorded a gunshot, the autopsy would have shown it. If there had been a fight that left broken bones or deep wounds, the report would have named them. It didn't. The recording was awful to hear, but it proved distress, not a crime. The conclusion fit a simpler chain: a late night, alcohol, disorientation, soft shoreline, water. The community split on how to live with that. Some accepted the findings, grieved, and called the death preventable: a bad drop-off, unfamiliar routes, wetlands in the dark. Others held tight to the word stop, the shifting accounts of where he had been left, and the sense that someone else must have been there. Investigators answered with the facts they had. Suburban lakes aren't fenced, darkness bends judgment, a few yards of soft bottom can trap a person quickly, and drowning can be silent. The searches ended, but the argument did not. Reporters replayed the audio. Online forums dissected it frame by frame and added claims the record did not support. The file stayed what it was: a night out, a disputed drop-off later clarified, a trail of tower activity, a voicemail filled with fear, a body recovered from a nearby lake, an official ruling of drowning with no significant trauma. Anything beyond that belonged to belief. What remained for the people who loved him was a narrow span of minutes that turned the wrong way. A man left a club and didn't make it home. He called while something, fear, terrain, water, closed around him. The ground near the lake gave way or ran out beneath his feet. Panic is loud, water is not. Audio can trap terror without telling you where a step slipped. Science drew a line to the shore and stopped there. The rest was our need to trade uncertainty for a villain who makes sense of the word stop. There was a lesson in it that no one wanted. Late-night distances are longer than they look, and water waits in quiet places. A wallet kept safe doesn't guarantee a safe route. Telling a friend to call for a ride is not the same as getting him to the door. The recording that haunted everyone did not solve the night. It preserved the moment when choices and geography closed in faster than help could reach. He tried to halt it with one word. It wasn't enough. Thank you for listening to The Lantern's Tale. Subscribe for more true stories, if you dare.